What is up, everybody? It is Rogue Hero here with my homie Master Swag King on the first episode. I guess I'm gonna call this the Rogue Hero Podcast, aka RHE Podcast, aka definitely inspired by the Joe Rogan Podcast. This is a series I've been wanting to get into for a while now. Might do it monthly or weekly. Let me know what you guys want to do in the comment section down below. Might be 20 or 30 minutes, depending on how the conversation goes. We're going to talk about three things today on the podcast. This podcast is going to be talking about today is the market watch, the current state of the market watch. I guess content curators who lie about to their fans about certain things, and online tournaments matter? Now, a lot of these things is stuff that me and MSK thought about talking about. So, if you guys have any more feedback for us, because this is my first iteration of trying to do my own podcast series, let me know. But I'm gonna start the podcast is MSK. How you been, man? How's your day going so far?
We're doing pretty good. I've did, multiple different podcasts of my own because obviously I do one for my own channel, then I have one for my second channel. So it's a little bit, I'd say, weird to be the one that's being the interviewed person.
Oh yeah.
I'm usually not the person in the driver's seat, but yeah, it's been great. With the whole full force virus thing going on, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh's in a little bit of a frozen state.
That virus thing is no joke, dog. Y'all need to be careful, stay indoors, listen to people. Don't be these like the people who went off to Florida for spring break and end up catching the virus. That people need to take this thing seriously, but don't overdo it though. You don't want to be those people who just freak out and make situations worse than they need to be. For MSK, for people who don't know what you're about, tell them what you're about, and y'all check out my man's. Y'all subscribe to him. But yeah, tell them what you're about, MSK.
So my content revolves around, I would say now after my rebrand. So first it was just MasterSwagKing, and then after finding my identity and what I wanted to do on YouTube, I wanted to rebrand. So that's why people ask me, why did you rebrand? So I rebranded because I wanted to be something different, and the something different was obviously being someone that I want to show people and the real me. And the real me likes anime, superheroes, movies. I like going to the gym. I obviously like podcasts, so that's why I have my own two podcast series. I like playing video games. So that's why I wanted to bring that into my content, because people have always said Yu-Gi-Tubing can't really do that. And then I'm like, no, who says that? Like, says who?
Right.
Like, there's no rules for that. That's what the perception is. And to change things about that, I myself would have to be the pillar of that first, and that's what I'm taking on now. So now on the channel, there's vlogs, there's the podcast, there's Dueling to be a King, which is where I duel between like Dueling Nexus and YGO Pro for people who still like longer Yu-Gi-Oh content. There's market watches, there's something kind of there for everybody. I started doing movie reviews now, and I know a lot of people like them. I'm doing the Avengers, 2012 Avengers movie. A lot of people want to do that one. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I've been piecing it together because there's a lot that goes into that, but I want to be the person that does something different, and I want to show people that it can be successful. But don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do it, because there's no rule saying you can't, and I'm gonna be the first person to change that. That's why I chose to rebrand and chose to get things the way I wanted to go.
Oh yeah, and that's what's up, man. I had to rebrand myself. For you guys that do not know, my name used to be Innovation YGO, and I personally rebranded due to the fact that a lot of things happen on my channel. I don't want to disclose on this video. Maybe in a future podcast, I'll talk about some old drama I had with some popular content creators you guys may or may not know. So I decided to rebrand. I feel like I put my old Innovation name in the dirt, and I wanted to just rebrand myself and start over. And I think Rogue Hero's been doing good for me. And honestly, it's been fitting for the channel considering I play the hero deck. All right, so let's get to the main topic. So, Swag King, so you do a lot of market watches. Tell us about the market watch. Like, what is hot pickups right now? Like, what have you been noticing in the market that should be a popular trend that people need to be looking into? Like, should people even be considered to pick up cards now with the crush card virus or full force virus, as you call it, going on, or should people just wait?
It's a double-edged sword, I would say. Because you could throw the argument to say, well, it's not a safe thing to pick up cards right now because there's no tournament organized play. And then the other lead into the argument goes, well, Yu-Gi-Oh is going to come back. Organized tournament play is going to come back. And the people that bought those cards when it was pretty much stale in the market are going to be getting most of the money because they chose to invest when nobody is. Or you could spin the other way you asked first, where it's like, okay, why buy anything right now? Because no one's really playing any organized tournament play. But then you also said, what's the hottest pickups? For me personally, the best question that people have asked me on my channel, which is what you asked, was you always want to grab things that have long-term value in the meta, and you also want to grab things that have long-term value overall. My biggest thing right now, I would say, is ghost rares that are super, super underrated. Like, let's look at the ulti element hero cards when we were younger.
Okay.
Like Shining Phoenix Enforcer, Shining Flare Wingman, Ultimate Rare. These are just examples, right?
Okay.
Those cards were probably $20 when we were in high school, $30 maximum, because you're counting in taxes and fees, right?
Yeah.
Now
Give or
look
take.
at those cards. Those cards are like what? $120,
Are they? I didn't
$100.
know. I didn't honestly know
They're
that they were
they're
going
worth a
for that
lot of
much.
money. They're worth a lot of money.
Wow.
So let's
Because
factor
they're
that
rare
in.
too. They're older.
Yeah, people never look at stuff like that. It's a collector's market that has a lot of value, but you're not. But most people are just allocated towards the meta, and that's why my market watch is a little bit different. I don't never really focus on one thing. It's you have to look at the broader picture because I feel like a lot of people never can truly be successful in Yu-Gi-Oh and making money if you're not looking at the broader picture. So there is going to be the meta that's going to grant a lot of the money going in, but there's also the other part where it's people who don't exactly play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, where cards like Ghost Rares, Ulti Elemental Heroes that are old as dirt by now. There's the Mattel action figure promo series, another type of collector thing for
Oh
a
yeah, I heard. I
heroes.
remember those. Like
Yeah.
I think I was a freshman in high school when those first came out. In actuality, my first Yu-Gi-Oh journey when I used to go to like Toys R Us just to play in their little Toys R Us events or just to go trade. Because I never officially played in those Toys R Us events. For you veteran players that remember that series, I used to see those like those Sparkman toys with the cards. I know those are pretty pricey.
So after that, I learned over doing market watches for the past, let's say, 3 years that you got to look at everything. So you know how when a new set comes out, let's just say Dual Overload, since that's the newest set, right?
Okay.
There's eye candy. There's eye candy. So that's Needle Fiber, Phantasme, Union Carrier. Let's just use those as examples, right? There's always eye candy. But then there's always those underrated cards that no one ever looks at. So let's take it from another recent example. Chaos Impact. Chaos Impact, the biggest cards were what? IP Masquerena, things like Starleech Seyfert, things like the Unchained Abomination spell card, right?
Right.
But other cards in the set also went up in value too. Unchained Abomination at one point became a $10 card. And that's my example is a lot of people only focus on the eye candy when it's always the much more underrated cards that later shoot up in value. Like let's look at Dual Power from last year. Infinite Permanence was a $25 card. People said,
I
oh,
didn't know
it's just a
that.
reprint. It was a reprint. People didn't
Okay.
like it. It became the most accessible version because some people don't like obviously spending the most money to get the highest rarity. And that also goes to another part of the question I'll answer. So you have to always see the value in everything. Not a lot of value is translated in the highest rarity. So like, let's use Madolce Angeli, right? You know, so Madolce Angeli currently right now, before they get the reprint in Battles of Legends Armageddon, has two printings, Primo Origin and the 2015 Megatits Megapin pack version. So
Right.
when someone goes to get this, so when someone goes to get this card, they're thinking like, okay, I have a budget, I have to follow, or if you don't have a budget, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you can't buy for whatever reason the original, that's why we see reprints go up in value because that's the most accessible version. So the same thing ties back into Infinite Permanence. People didn't want to pay $70 for the secret, so like, wait a minute, I could just save money, go to the reprint. That's $25. But then that's the thing. People don't understand what the market is. That everybody else that thought of that exact thing that I thought of, someone else already thought of that.
Right.
So they also started doing it, and then now vendors know they can make money off the reprints. That's why now the reprint value goes up. That's how I would really phrase it.
Okay, so you do. It sounds like you do more of like a long term type of market watch. So you do more for like what's going to be good in the future. You don't really focus mainly on what's good now, unless like there's a tournament going on. But obviously, right now, since we don't know when the next tournament's going to be, your main focus at this point is what can make you money a year from now, or maybe even 2 years from now. Did I understand correctly?
Yeah, you always got to think about the long-term value and the short-term value. Yes, there's money in the meta cards. Like if you bought a box of, what's the newest set? Ignition Assault right now, right? Let's
Right.
say you bought that and you pulled Lightning Storm. So if you're not going to a tournament at any point during the year, it's better to sell that card. But you could also take the money you got from that card and put it into cards that people could want in the future. Ghost Rare's ulti numbers. People really dislike Zexal. I think it's better than Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I know you're not gonna
Oh
like that.
no, no, dog. You tripping, dog. GX is okay. To be fair though, like I'd be lying. Okay, GX is my favorite series because it was a series I watched when I was in high school, and as I got older, I grew to like it. But even in high school, I didn't really have cable like that, so like I only watched like the first half of GX. Then I didn't have cable, so I couldn't finish watching the other half. But I did grow up like everybody else watching the Battle City arc, the original Yu-Gi-Oh.
Mhm.
I probably naturally have more of a connection to the OG Yu-Gi-Oh than GX. It just GX was my favorite because it was like, hey, they were in high school, I was in high school, the intro was dope, hanging out with the crew in the school. Like you can't beat that, Joe. You can't beat that at all. But yeah, I get you though. Like I know a lot of people like 5Ds. I remember. I think I was in college when 5Ds came out. So yeah.
5Ds is my 5Ds is anybody don't know me, 5Ds is my favorite. And I can obviously break down accurately why it's my favorite, but going back to what you asked, ulti number cards could be another like ulti elemental hero investment where you buy the
Right.
ulti like you buy the ulti numbers for like let's say $5, like just a random one, $5, right? Well, in the future, it could be like $100, and obviously someone might not pay $100, but the fact that it went up that much is the thing because people said the exact same thing about Metamorphosis, super rare. That's like what $500 right now for Go players,
Oh yeah.
but people were back then weren't really thinking about that. They were thinking like, oh, right now it's bad, but they weren't thinking about the future. Players' biggest problem with the market, in my own personal opinion, is they're not thinking about the future. The now is fine too. Like
Well, I
perfectly
think
right
most people,
now,
yeah, most players like me, like myself, I don't plan on making money off the game. I just want to pick up stuff that's
Mhm.
that's good now and try to make a quick buck. I think that's how
but
most
this is
players are.
but this is just overall for just the general person. Like you can make money now and you can make money in the future. That's all the best things that I
Gotcha.
would obviously go for. Also,
So number
the
one
last
card to pick
thing
up
is
right now, like what would you say to pick up, guaranteed pick up for
number
market
one
wise?
card.
That you, if you
I
if
would
you
say
if you was since you're the market wise professional, like what would you say would be the number one card to pick up right now before we move on to the next topic?
I'm gonna take a big gamble here. I'm gonna take a big one. Ulti Solemn Judgment.
Alter Solemn
The
Judgment. Okay,
fact,
why?
yeah, because the fact that Ulti Solemn Strike could go to $140.
Wow, I didn't
Solemn
know that
Judgment
either.
is Solemn Judgment, as most of you guys know, super iconic, super accessible card in a lot of different rarities. But having that ultimate printing puts it above the other rarities. Also, this card is super accessible in the way that you can have access to it in mostly every single new chapter coming out. Because what I noticed about Konami is that every single meta, there's always a trap deck that could beat that deck. So back in the day, mine was Gear. Back in before
Okay.
that, when I was playing, was Gravekeeper. Let's go recently, True Draco, another really good trap deck to beat the meta decks.
Guys.
Ultra
Yep.
a trap deck to beat. There's always a trap deck to beat the meta deck. Or moving forward, we're gonna have one. So Solemn Judgment is a negation. It's just a blatant negation, and I just couldn't see the ulti being $60 for the future. I could see it being easy 120 plus, but that's not causing a buyout. That's just being what the market is going to think. Also, as sets get older, it's obviously harder to have access to this card. That's also what I would say too.
Okay, so Altis, you guys heard it here first. Altis Solemn, pick it up. What is it currently going for right now?
About 62-ish, $65 if you factor
Okay,
in
so
like fees.
so for you rich
Not
Yu-Gi-Oh
causing any
players,
buyouts. Not
Yu-Gi-Oh players,
causing any buyouts.
right? Did you rich Yu-Gi-Oh players pick up the Solemn Judgment? All right, next topic. So we're gonna talk about content creators. I know this is topic you specifically wanted to talk about. You said a lot of things with like specifically with lying. You were telling me off air that like a lot of times like content creators lie to their fans with specific things as far as like think buying stuff and not and wanting support afterwards. Like, can you elaborate on
It's
that?
I should have elaborated better, but okay. So lying in terms of not prepping your video properly. So there was this video, and that's not calling anybody out. This is just me
Right.
saying what the
It's
facts
speaking
are.
general. I'm pretty sure it's more than one
Yeah,
person.
yeah. So there was a video that came out called "Everything Wrong with Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 1." And
Okay.
most people have watched the video. It's got like what 3 million views on YouTube. There's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
know who you're talking about. Yeah.
there's a lot of misinformation in the video. So this
Okay.
is for a fun fact for a lot of people who don't actually understand this because you watch anime, so you're gonna know this too. In the anime, when most animes are created, they have mangas, right? So the
Yep.
manga is what you go off of because that's your comic books, that's your source material. So in the subversion, that's why they're more closer linked to the manga because it's like the first thing you create after that in most anime. So what people don't notice about Yu-Gi-Oh, and because Yu-Gi-Oh is an anime where most people forget any stereotype of any anime in general. The reason why the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't follow the rules is because the first manga volumes do not follow the rules for Duelist Kingdom. That's
Right.
the source material. That's the source material. So if they're following the source material, it's not going to follow the rules. And then in the video, it was portrayed that it was intentional, which is not true. It's just legitimately not true. This is 100% fact. If you are an anime creator, you go off your manga to your subbed and your English dubs.
Right. But what did you say?
So
What did somebody say? Well, maybe that content creator that you're talking about made a mistake, or
then
I
that's
wouldn't necessarily call
that's
that
the thing.
lying. I would think that maybe that was just like a error when making that video.
But that's the thing, is that if you want to say something as blatant as that, you make sure you do facts like that. You fact check everything you
Fair
see
enough, I
when
guess.
everything is, because it's the thing. There's a lot of simple-minded, weak simp people that just believe whatever comes out of someone's mouth and they take it. And I think that's wrong, because you're spreading misinformation, and a lot of people say this for years to come. Like these things could be said for years when it's clearly not the case, though. This is how it was. This is how it's always been. That's why they did this. But it's portrayed as if it like it's intentional when they're just like screwing around, when that's not the case at all. You know what I mean?
I mean, I
And
get that. You pretty much want to say if somebody has a platform and they're influential, you want to make sure that you do fact check, because you can be wrong, and then that can lead to other stuff down the line and misinformation in the society of the anime and or anything leading on to that. I'm assuming, is that correct?
yeah, because even in the video, if people scroll down like enough comments, he even says, "I might make this video over in the future." I mean,
I
that
mean,
is already kind of like,
that's something like that. I feel like is a little petty. I mean, he if he admitted it, I mean, you're gonna make errors. I mean, we all do
mhm,
YouTube. You were also
mhm.
telling me there was some other stuff you want to go over too, but like content creators lying with different things. So I
It's more
don't
like
personally think that's a lie. I think that's more of like a mistake. I don't think there was like evil, malicious intent. Like to me, a lie personally is like more of a malicious intent. Like for example, I'm a lie because you were mentioning something like donations, like some people ask for donations,
yeah,
saying that they need it when they really don't need it. So, for example, let's say if I was like iDubbbz TV, for example, right, and I can make a video, my video make easily $1,000 a video or more, and I tell my fans, hey, I need a donation, I need to rally up money to buy me a new computer. Well, it's like, well, duh, I don't think you do. Just make a video. You can afford a computer. So, to me personally, that would be like lying because you're just taking advantage of your fan base. Or if you just want them to support you, to say, hey, I just need extra support.
it's gonna
Instead
be
of,
vice versa. It's gonna be vice versa. So I'll tackle it from the fan perspective first, because
okay,
a lot of fans will go like, "Oh, I can't donate right now because of X reason." And then like on Facebook groups or Reddit, this is in any community in general, not just Yu-Gi-Oh. People are like,
okay.
"Well, I'm buying for Yu-Gi-Oh X cases. I'm buying X boxes. I just got my new computer." Well, it's like, didn't you just lie when you said you couldn't support? I mean, it's yeah, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with your own money. Perfectly fine. Respect you for that.
Right,
But don't tell me that first part, and that comes off to me as a lie. There's no reason to do that. There is just like, hey, you can support in different ways, liking, commenting, watching the video fully
right,
does so well. And then it goes with Twitch, or this is more like for Twitch people and YouTubers. So like
right.
famous Twitch and YouTubers, well, hey, support, you're going to get access to my Discord. When it's clearly shown during your streams or your videos, you make a ton of money. Like certain streamers, like on Twitch, make a ton of money. So like, why do you really need people to, donate to you when you're getting a lot of donations through what you're already getting? Like, what are you really gaining other than just being a donation service? It doesn't make
I
any
mean,
sense
it's
to
a
me.
business at the end of the day. But I get what you're saying. Like, if some people are trying to say, hey, they need X, Y, and Z extra money. But at the same time, it's like a business aspect too. For example, like I make YouTube videos, and I know that my money ain't. I mean, I ain't living off YouTube. But if I say, hey, I want to sell a T-shirt, can y'all buy my T-shirt? Or if y'all can donate more, if y'all can, that's great. Like I wouldn't. I'd never be the content creator that says, oh, my fans suck because they can't support me. Now those content creators, I think, are full of crap, if you will, because I've personally seen content creators in all sections of YouTube that bash their fans for not supporting, which I don't think is a good idea because people can
Mhm.
save their dollar and take it elsewhere. But on the flip side, though, it is annoying as a content creator if a fan tell you, "Hey, I got you. I'm gonna donate to you on Friday, for example. Or, hey, I'm gonna buy your merch," but you don't see any sales for your merch, or you don't get them donated to you. I mean, I just see it as like whatever. I mean, it's a business. Some people just say things and they forget, or some people just don't care.
I don't
And
think they forget. I think they just say that just to make your day feel better. Which I
right,
mean, like if you're doing that, that's cool. But you're also that's still a
it's like
lie, though.
don't even like if you're
But
not interested in, like, for example, like, I got a T-shirt I just dropped.
mhm, mhm,
Like, I mean, I think people say they're gonna buy it. I mean, if they don't buy it, I'm like, trip about it. But
mhm.
it's like, why say you're gonna buy something when you really don't have the intention to? That's like, I'd rather you say, hey, that's cool. Good luck with the sales and move on with it, instead of saying, hey, I got you Friday. I'm gonna buy like 5 of them bitches, and then don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't really. It's not that
I mean,
serious. I'm not hurting for the YouTube money. It's just
Mhm.
something I'm doing on the side right now until it pops, and then hopefully I can make this full time with it. But I get what you're saying though. I mean, I feel like that's kind of like a little bit of a sticky situation with content creators and people lying. I mean, people are gonna lie. People go. That's just natural.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I just don't understand what's the intention. Like, if you tell me you're gonna do something, like you're not even like that's basically you doing it. I'm not saying do this. You know what I mean? Like I'm just
Right.
a person here doing my own thing. If someone, let's say they PM you right now and say, hey, I love your content, I'm gonna support you, and I'm gonna donate to you on PayPal when I get paid on Friday, right? It's just like random, it's an
Right.
example, right? So on Friday comes, it's not like we're expecting it, guys. This is just an example of what's happened throughout doing YouTube. If you're not doing that, don't lie. There's no reason to lie because now I think of you as a liar. That's what I think of you. Let's just use another example. Let's say your girlfriend says she's gonna give you a threesome, and then you're waiting for this threesome for
Right.
like months on end. It comes to your birthday. She's like, all right, babe, I'm gonna give you this threesome. I promise you. Your birthday comes. Hey, babe, can I get that threesome? It's like next month. You're lying. Like people don't. You're legitimately lying. Like that's just
I,
how I feel about it.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I get what you're saying. I guess you're just trying to say you don't like the online aspect of lying, but I feel like that's just something personally that you're gonna get as an online person. Let's go to the next topic. Do
Mhm.
online tournaments matter for Yu-Gi-Oh? Now, this is something that's controversial because a lot of people have been saying what matters for Yu-Gi-Oh, and a lot of things has been going into things like YCSs, regionals, nationals, what event matters most. Some people say PPGs matter more than the regionals. Some people from California, where you're at, MSK, disagree. I wanted to say what like does online tournaments matter because a lot of some people say no, some people say yeah. I mean, I give my standpoint. This is my topic. I personally think they do, and here's why. In online tournaments, you're gonna get the best of the best. You're not gonna get somebody who just on a whim just wanted to play. And I experienced this when I did my own ARG tournament. My first ARG which was in Chicago. You typically get the best of the best when there's money on the line, and when it's not a non-sponsored event because people feel like it's not official and you're taking a risk to get a bigger reward. Like I think the online tournaments pay you out in cash, like $20 to enter, and then they break it up. And then the online organizer he splits his portion and cut it out. I think since you're gonna get a lot more competitive people who are good at the game, I think those should be maybe even a level higher than regionals, depending on the type of player to enter. The only thing that sucks about online tournaments is you're not gonna get the rogue aspect as much with an online tournament as you would without regionals or YCS, and that's mainly due to the fact that if you prep for an online tournament, you can expect the meta. You're gonna expect the ultra guys, the hero decks, what you're normally used to seeing. Or if you go to a big tournament, you may see some random stuff that just may beat you. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
So you first asked, will online Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments count? Now that's a
Like, far as
double-edged
like,
sword too.
like if you have an online, I think the
Mhm.
most recent luxury gaming tournament had over 200 people, which is that's like the small regionals if you want to argue it. And
Now,
it was hosted on Dueling Book. It was some controversy behind it of how they wanted to rule stuff, but it was a pretty good turnout in my personal opinion for an unofficial online tournament with a good amount of people.
this is what I'm about to ask you before I answer: is that do actual Yu-Gi-Oh regionals and YCSs count as much to a certain extent? Because to be fair,
I guess
if
when
people
we say
say,
we count, what do you mean by count?
well,
Well,
see,
because when
people
I
only kind of count something if it has a prize on the line, right? Like that'll be a general basis for a tournament, right?
right,
So let's be honest, people. Let's anybody watching, you don't really get too much. You don't get any prizes. Let's be honest here. You don't get any prizes from most Yu-Gi-Oh regionals or YCS events. You get a mat, trophy, a box of cards, or a PS4, depending on obviously the event. So if someone says online tournaments don't matter, you could very well make the case that regionals and YCSs also do not matter. Like you can say that because to be fair, if a tournament is not giving out legitimate prizes, you can make the argument that it doesn't matter. Also, people say I think people use that as a deter of success. Like, oh, it doesn't matter because it's online, or it doesn't matter because a bunch of these players at this regional YCS obviously weren't that good. So there's always going to be those deters to a success. But Online, I don't think it'll matter as much in terms of counting, because online, nobody can say, oh, bro, I'm poor, I can't afford these cards. Bro, it is an online simulator. You have access to every single card in the game
Right.
for at least whatever region you play for, TCG or OCG. So I think that there's less excuses when it comes to online tournaments because of the card pool that it's available online. I think there's more excuses to discredit somebody in IRL based off their budget and or what they actually have in their deck. But online, you could maybe leverage the case that, well, if he has access to every single card for his deck to be the best, and if he's not playing it, then what's really going on? Does this person actually just suck? Because that would be just like, if let's use this as an example. So you want a certain girl, like let's say you want Scarlett Johansson,
Right.
or you
Scarlett
want
Johansson.
or you want, who's a really popular chick right now that everybody likes, Taylor Swift, whatever. Let's use your example, right?
Nah.
You know what, Taylor Swift?
Some people might say Lizzo. I'm good on
So
Lizzo, though.
if Taylor Swift went up to you and was like, all right, Mr. Rogue Hero, your content is only going to count if you actually make money off of it. But then you could spin the argument of, but I make content because I just care about my fans. See, there's always going to be that right there, a big deter of success no matter what it is. You might consider something successful by what you're showing your fans. Other people consider successful by what's actually the win. So that's why I use the example of Scarlett Johansson, Taylor Swift. So Scarlett Johansson might like you obviously wanting to bring it out for money. So obviously she makes big blockbuster movies. Taylor Swift might want you to have what you have because you are just showing your fans that. And I think in terms of online tournaments matter in the grand scheme of things, who in 5 years is going to remember that online tournament, though, as a legitimate victory?
The person who won it.
That's the only thing. Because a lot of people say, oh, it's just online, someone could just DC'd. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think there's going to be too many deters to success in online rather than in regionals, where it's like, no, you lost because you just got outplayed. I don't give a shit when someone says, oh, I didn't top deck this. No. You just lost. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players' biggest problem is that they're not admitting when they lost. That's the biggest problem they have. You just lost. It doesn't matter what you top deck. It doesn't matter. The sign on that slip says that other player's name. You lost. That's it.
Right, but even regionals, though, 5 years from now, no one's going to really care about somebody else's original tops other than the person who got that top.
To be fair, people still remember those tops in the past, though. Your tops, your gadget ones, your people remember YouTubers top. I think in terms of like how you view history, are you going to remember an online tournament top over a regional YCS top?
Well, it depends on how big it is. I think personally, with everything going on in the world, I think online tournaments could be a big deal, which is why I wanted to talk about this. I personally also think Konami. This is the perfect time for Konami to drop a online simulator for Yu-Gi-Oh, similar to Dueling Book, and or just completely take over Dueling Book, like buy out the creator of Dueling Book, or just take it because it's their property to begin with, and just do their own thing and charge people like $5 a month to play. Like, I'm all for that. I'll do it, especially if it's official. I mean, it's gonna completely cancel out their products. However, with the state of the world, we don't know when we're gonna get another tournament again. So this will definitely be a good way to hold people over until we can get the IRL things back in order.
Yeah, it's you said ask the Konami online simulator. I don't know why they haven't did that in the past years. Like, to be honest, like, I just think at this point they just don't want to do it, because like it's the same thing I brought up with the whole threesome thing. They haven't, but this is the thing though with that. If your wife never said that to you, like, okay, I was never going to give this to you, then you shouldn't expect it. People always expect something that they have never actually said. So Konami has never said they're going to give us one, and people always ask, well, why don't we have one? But they never actually said.
Well, that's because everyone else has one. That's why, like, Pokemon has one, which is a pretty solid. I see people playing every time I go to locals. Magic has one, so I felt that people feel like with Yu-Gi-Oh being arguably the second best card game in the world next to Magic, some people may even argue Yu-Gi-Oh is number one. They don't have an online simulator, which is kind of like, come on, Konami, give us something. At least give us something where we can buy packs and build real decks. Like, that's the frustrating part. As a competitive player myself, I feel like we should have something that's official that can hold us over, rather than Konami focuses on Duel Links, which Duel Links is cool. I personally think Duel Links will eventually become normal Yu-Gi-Oh because it's already a platform Konami created. I think Duel Links was just invented to get players in a simpler form of Yu-Gi-Oh, and maybe I think down the line they may make an update to Duel Links, which is going to be similar to modern Yu-Gi-Oh, and then they're going to have it like where you can do classic Duel Links or you can do modern Yu-Gi-Oh. That's my prediction for Duel Links. I think Duel Links is going to be essentially Dueling Book 2.0, but
Yeah,
officially Konami branded. Honestly,
I
it
I would
only
actually
makes
have
sense in my opinion.
I would have to agree with that too, because you could really cash in on the nostalgia fans that want to play Yu-Gi-Oh back when they were in
But in a simpler
2005.
way, which is what they did.
Yeah, yeah, like people who just can't accept that Yu-Gi-Oh has to change to get more money so it can thrive. Those you already have those people with Duel Links. You already got those people. All right, so those people are happy with Duel Links. Sometimes they have their little own BS that they have to go through. But you could also capture the Yu-Gi-Oh fans that have accepted that Yu-Gi-Oh needs to change and needs to move on
Right.
with modern Yu-Gi-Oh. So just imagine two different sections ranked for both doing for the original Yu-Gi-Oh and what they're doing now in Duel Links with the speed duel cards. And then now you have us, where we want to play competitive decks and we want to, battle each other. You could extremely cash out on that, but I think that they want to keep the parties separate for some reason, which doesn't make any sense. They want to keep the parties separate, and it's like they acknowledge that certain types of Yu-Gi-Oh players just don't mesh together. I think they've acknowledged that
I
after
don't
all this
think
point.
I'm on the side of their strategy is to make a simple game, introduce all the new archetypes of people who ain't played Yu-Gi-Oh forever because they have over 1 million downloaded people for the game. And apparently they're introducing links. I'm not a Duel Links follower, so I don't know nothing about
Mm-hmm.
it. But
Oh,
I
me
got people.
neither.
I know people who play it, and I think they're gonna release links in Duel Links soon. So I feel like once they release the link monsters into Duel Links, like it's only a flip of a switch where they can say, "Hey, let's just make this a regular Yu-Gi-Oh and have people play it."
And then those people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, Link's killed my game."
I mean, they can still, like I said, they can still do classic Duel Links, which would be the
Yeah,
main focus, but also give us a simulator for people who actually play regular Yu-Gi-Oh. That's what they
yeah,
should do, in my opinion.
yeah.
But you
But
might
then
be
you also
right
gotta
too.
but you also gotta factor in. They have to ask the OCG, "Is this okay?" Because people who don't know this before I actually have to head out really quick
Okay.
is that they have to ask the OCG if something's okay, and then they have to say
Well, I think
yes.
the OCT would have developed it though. I'm pretty sure they're the main developer for that.
And even that's my problem is that if the OCG at this point, Yu-Gi-Oh's been out since what 19 something 1995 in the OCG 2000 in the US. Like combine that for at least both of the parties, we're going on like 25 plus years. If they're not doing it at this point, it's just not coming. They just don't want to do it.
Possibly, but we might get a chance. But all right, y'all. Swag King gotta get out of here. So I guess the last thing I want to ask you, Swag King, before you go, what's next for your channel? What can people expect?
Because like more vlogs, movie reviews, Yu-Gi-Oh content will always stay, more podcast and more mail days, just more of the same that you guys have been seeing and you guys have been loving it. People who are my OG subscribers, who've been my subscribers for a very long time, my new subscribers that I got from you, they love it. So yeah, you guys have been loving the content, you've been liking, commenting, and I love it, and I just can't wait to give you more every single day. Like I'm a guy where I can release like 5 videos a day. Someone asked me, "Are you burned out?" Nope, I love making videos. I love doing this. If I love it, why would I get burned out? That's it. That's how I
Yeah.
feel about it.
All right, everybody, that's Master Swag King. Make sure to check him out on his first iteration of the RHE podcast. I know it's a little all over the place. We have some timing issues. I'm in Chicago. He's in California. That's a 2 hour time difference. Like right now in his area, it's 10 o'clock. In my area, it's 12 o'clock. So yeah, man, subscribe to my homie, and we're gonna probably have more guests in the future. For right now, it might just be me and him. So man, this is Rogue Hero on Swag King. We signing out, y'all. Peace. Stay innovative.
Peace. I'm gonna get some strippers.
All right, y'all.